now, I realized that I did not ask you to raise your digital hands while we were doing the lesson, but now we need to raise digital hands, okay? All right, so who would like to read for us number 1? Like really just this section right here. Elijah, go ahead and read for us. Just leave it.
Rounding replaces one number with another number that tells us about how many or how much.
Okay.
Round 6, 13 to the nearest 10.
Okay, so let's make sure we're reading our numbers correctly today. Remember that when we have a decimal, we always say the word and. Okay, so this number is 6 and 13/100ths. Okay, so what they're asking us to do, they're kind of walking us through it. So they've made this number line. They know that 6 and 13/100ths is between 6 and 10/100ths and 6 and 2/10ths. Okay, so the halfway point is 6 and 15/100ths. Okay, so you raising your digital hand, someone tell me, is 6 and 13/100ths closer to 6 and 1/10 or 6 and 2/10? Rakaya, what do you think?
6 and 2/10.
Why do you think that?
Because it's like 2 is 1 above 1. It's bigger than 1.
Okay, so let me see if I can make this bigger. Look at that number line. Okay, here is 6 and 1/10. Here is 6 and 2/10. And here is our 6 and 13/100ths.
6 and 1.
Okay, so now that we see it, it's closer to the 6 and 1/10, right? Okay, so everybody, it's a much shorter jump to the 6 and 1/10 than it is to the 6 and 2/10, right? Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, so number 2. Who would like to read number 2 right here for us? Brandon, go ahead.
Round the decimal 17 and 46 cents to the nearest tenth. Draw a line under the rounding place. Circle the digit to the right.
Okay, so which place is the rounding place? Which digit? Israel, which digit is the rounding place? 4, good. Okay, and then they're saying circle this one. So you remember that that's the one that you need to look at, right? And then the next part is talking about the rule of 5 or more, okay? So what is the circled digit, everybody? 6, good. Is the circled digit 5 or more or less than 5?
Or more.
Okay, so what do we do with the underlined digit then? Make it a 5. Good, yeah. Make it a 5. Okay, this is just walking you through it. Okay, so then it says drop any digits to the right. Okay, so then that would be a 17 and 5/10, right? Okay, now, the next one says take the same number and they want us to round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so I'm going to erase this work right here. Okay, if I need this number and I want to round to the nearest whole number, what digit is in the nearest whole number place value, Jada? Jada, I have this number. Which digit is in the whole numbers, the nearest whole number place value? Antoine, help her out. Which digit?
5.
Nope, not a 5. We want the nearest whole number. Think about what place value that is, if it's the nearest whole number. Israel, what is the nearest whole number for that?
7.
7. Okay, remember when they say nearest whole number, they mean the ones. Okay, so nearest whole number, if you need to, write that down. The nearest whole number is always the ones place. Okay. So is 17 and 4600ths, is that closer to 17 or 18? And again, think about money. Is $17.46 closer to $17 or closer to $18? Lyric, what do you think?
I think it's closer to $18.
Why do you think that?
Because if we did round the 7, it would go to 8.
Okay, but remember, do we look at the 7 or do we look next door?
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh.
more closer to 17.
Okay,
'cause it's
so
4 and
yeah,
4
absolutely.
less.
So it's super important to make sure you're looking at the right place, right? That's why we underline that. They told us in the directions, hey, I want you to round to the whole number. Okay? But that means we always have to look next door. Okay? So I'm glad you picked up on that, Lyric. So 17 and 4600ths would be closer to 17 than it would be to 18. Okay? And I know it's really hard to see down there, and if I try to make it bigger, it's going to go away. But they're wanting us on this one, the last one. We have 8 and 5400ths, and they want to round that to the nearest 10th. Let me see if I can get some room here. So 8 and 5400ths. Okay, so they want the nearest 10th. So the first question is, which digit is in the 10th place? Israel, which digit is in the 10th place?
5.
5, very good. Now, that's the place we want to round to. But remember, that means we look next door. Okay, so everybody, is that 4 or less, or is that 5 or more, or 4 or less?
4 or less.
4 or less. Okay, so then that means the 5 is going to be what? The same. So 8 and 5400ths rounds to 8 and 5/10ths. Okay? Any questions on that? I see hands from Rakaya and Brandon. Do you guys have questions? Or was that from earlier? Rakaya, do you have a question?
It says kilograms. Is it the same?
Yes. Yes. That's just giving you a context. So
Oh.
instead of talking money, it's talking about kilograms. So, like, you know, they might be measuring a rock or something like that. Okay? All right. So, in your Canvas course today, you are going to go to your quiz. And let's preview it. All right. So, on question number 1, you're rounding. Question number 2, you're rounding. Question number 3 is a multiple choice, but it's rounding. It's asking about the nearest 10th. Question number 4, again, rounding with a multiple choice, again, to the nearest 10th. And then question number 5, you are going to talk about, so it says Emma needs 2 pounds of ground meat to make a meatloaf. She has 1 package with 2 3600 pounds of ground meat and another package with 2 900 pounds of ground meat. She uses rounding and finds that both packages are close to 2 pounds. Explain how Emma can choose the package that is closer to 2 pounds. Okay, so you have to pick which one of these is closer to 2 pounds, and you have to tell me how you know that. Okay, so you're either going to type your answer or make a video for that one. Any questions on that quiz? All right, we have about 15 minutes for you to go take that quiz. Let's get it done. I'm here if you have questions or need any help.